Avdija hanging, puts it in. What a move right there.
Despite projecting as a top 5 pick in the 2020 NBA draft, Deni Avdija somehow fell all the way to 9th and landed in Washington. The Wizards didn't expect him to be available by then, and Avdija was a bit surprised about how low he went. But if Deni's life story tells us anything, it's that he's always found a way to exceed expectations. Join us now as we take a look at the story of Israeli sensation and Washington Wizards rookie, Deni Avdija. Deni Avdija is a 19-year-old kid very similar to any other. I like to hang out with my friends, I love to go to the beach, I have a girlfriend who is in the army, I like PlayStation. Avdija is usually quiet and reserved, but if you ask him about basketball, his eyes will suddenly light up and the otherwise shy kid could keep on talking about hoops for hours. Many people believe that Deni was already destined for basketball greatness. He already had ties to our sport before he was even born, as his father, Ziffer Avdija, was also a professional basketball player. Born in the former Yugoslavia, Ziffer was a member of the Yugoslav national basketball team, winning a bronze medal at the 1982 FIBA World Championship while playing the power forward position. After being the team captain of a Yugoslav club for 11 years, Ziffer moved to Israel and spent the second half of his professional career there, playing for different clubs over his last 8 seasons. In Israel, Ziffer met Sharon Artsy. The couple later married, and in 2001, they gave birth to their only son, Deni. Despite the fact that Avdija was born after his father's playing days had ended, he had an idea of how good his father was at playing ball. Still, basketball wasn't the first sport he chose to play. "My first sport was soccer," Deni says. "I played for 2 seasons. I wasn't bad, but I had enough of soccer. I didn't want to play anymore and I stopped focusing in practice. That was about 3rd grade and the basketball league only started in 4th. My father asked me if I wanted to try and play and I said, why not? But then I said, they'll all be older than me. And he said, don't worry, it'll be okay. Just try it." I tried and as you can see, it went well. Saying it went well might be the understatement of the century. Avdija initially played basketball at the youth level for the Bnei Herzliya basketball club in Israel. In his early years, his father was a huge inspiration for him. After retiring in 1998, Ziffer focused on coaching, and while Deni had access to a great head coach 24/7 in his own dad, a coach-player relationship between them never really worked out because a father-son relationship also existed. "He helped me more with off-court matters, how to behave and things like that," Deni summed up. "On the court, we didn't work much together. He tried coaching me, but it didn't work for us." In a different interview, Avdija still made sure to credit both of his parents for being so supportive in every step of the way, saying, "Of course my father is helping me, but he's really not interrupting my job. He never coached me and he never interfered with my job and my basketball things. I respect him for that approach. You know, it's not easy to be a father of a basketball player. I grew up in a really good home. Parents were helping me every minute, every second when I needed it. I can't thank them enough for that support." And as good as Deni's game was early on in his life, everything changed in 2013, when Avdija joined the youth roster of Maccabi Tel Aviv basketball club. In case that team name sounds familiar to you, it may be because Maccabi Tel Aviv is far and away the best basketball club in Israel, having won 54 Israeli League championships, as well as being one of the most successful franchises outside of the NBA, winning 6 EuroLeague championships. It's safe to say that joining a club with a track record like this one would put any player on a great position to succeed. Still, getting there doesn't guarantee you anything. It's hard work and dedication that really takes players to the next level. When Avdija first left his hometown club of Bnei Herzliya, he was visibly struggling, and due to these struggles, he wasn't fully committed to basketball at first. "I went through a tough period. It took me time to adjust to playing on a new team and with players who were better than me and taller than me," said Deni. He kept on pushing amid the turbulence, and soon after, life rewarded him with some outstanding physical gifts. "I had been the 12th, 13th player," Avdija said. "Then I suddenly grew and kept playing and started to become a more dominant player. Things became easier for him once Avdija had a growth spurt of around 16 centimeters, which is a bit over 6 inches. Deni was lighting up the youth leagues, and its club was very impressed with how quickly he had improved, with his physical tools and the upside for him as a pro player. That's why just 3 years after initially bringing him into their youth ranks, Avdija was called to the senior team. In the 11th grade, at just 16 years of age, executives and coaches saw potential in him that wouldn't take too long to realize. He made history as he became the youngest player in the club's history to play for the senior team. Nevertheless, the switch from the youth leagues to a league of grown-up men and experienced adults was once again a bit of a struggle for Avdija. "The reality was a blow to me. In the juniors, everyone is your age and roughly your physical level. And then you come to the seniors and there are no discounts," Deni said. "Everyone is making money and fighting for their money and their place on the roster. And physically, they are much bigger. It was very difficult for me to adjust, but little by little I have." Particularly, there were 2 main influences in his first year as a pro that, according to Deni himself, really helped mold him and become the amazing player he is today. First and foremost, Avdija credits one particular teammate whose influence on him was greater than that of any other teammate. The player who was toughest with me was DeAndre Kane, Avdija said. We were together for 2 years, and he didn't always treat me nicely, but I have to thank him for everything that he did for me. He caused me to understand that being a professional basketball player isn't easy. He caused me to get upset at times, and he beat me up in practices, but his intentions were good, and I really appreciate it today. Kane is an American-born player who played college basketball at Marshall and Iowa State before going undrafted in the 2014 NBA Draft. Kane is no longer with Maccabi Tel Aviv, as his 2-year tenure there coincided with Deni's first 2 years in the senior team. But this just goes to show how vital and important veteran players are in developing a team's stars for the future. Nobody knew better how hard it was to make it in professional basketball and how easy it is for your dreams to slip away if you don't fight hard enough than Kane. The closest he ever got to making it to the NBA were his 2014 and 2015 Summer League opportunities with the Los Angeles Lakers and the Atlanta Hawks. And thanks to his mentorship, it's Deni who now made it to the NBA. Avdija's second big-time influence came from his club's coaching staff, led by Maccabi Tel Aviv head coach Ioannis Sfairopoulos. "I'm not only a coach, but I'm also like a teacher," the coach said. In many ways, Sfairopoulos resembled the influence of Deni's father, Ziffer. This wasn't the coach's first experience developing young prospects into dominant players, as that's something he has really taken pride on for some time now. "Because I started as a coach of small kids, I know how it is to work with young and inexperienced players," Sfairopoulos explained. Deni still needs a lot of improvement because he's young, which is normal. But he's really talented and he's a good learner and a hard worker. He has a big future ahead of him. These words his former coach shared back in late 2019 were almost prophetical, because just 1 year later, his young star player was already in the NBA. Before making it to the world's best basketball league, Deni dominated the entire Israeli scene and was a force to be reckoned with in the EuroLeague as well. Avdija's accolades as a member of Maccabi Tel Aviv include 3 Israeli League championships from 2018 to 2020, as well as an All-Israeli First League team selection and the Israeli League MVP, both of which he won in 2020. He was also a standout in international competition. Due to his double Serbian and Israeli citizenship, Avdija could have been a member of the Serbian national team, but he instead chose to play for Israel. "My friends are here and I feel comfortable with the language," said Deni when asked about why he chose Israel over Serbia. "I'm having fun and I was the main guy and the leader of the youth national teams for a while now here." That decision certainly paid dividends, as in 2019, Deni led Israel to a gold medal in the FIBA Under-20 European Championship tournament, where he was also named tournament MVP. Avdija comes into the NBA knowing that even though he's worked really hard to get where he is now, hard work is far from over. "I'm always looking to get better, 24/7, even in the summer. Even during the season I wake up early and work on my game. I want to be a complete player. To rebound, pass, dribble, read situations. I'm trying to maximize all of those things together." And as if the young man wasn't already so likable, he's also humble enough to accept his areas of improvement and is eager to put in the work to get better in the NBA, saying, "I know I need to work on my dribbling, my left hand, and my outside shooting." Deni was really impressive in his first ever NBA game. Now, even though preseason doesn't really count as an official matchup, Avdija capitalized on every chance he got. In his first preseason game against the Brooklyn Nets, he finished with 15 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists. The most impressive part, however, is how Avdija went perfect from the field and didn't miss a shot. He was 6 for 6 overall and made all 3 of his three-point attempts, showing off an improved jumper that will hopefully be really dangerous in the regular season. "First of all, I'm not afraid of anything. Don't expect it to be perfect like that all the time," said Deni after his first game. "I know it. I shot perfectly today, but I'm not expected to shoot like that next time." Still, he's confident that good things will happen as he continues putting in the work. "I'm going to put those shots up confidently, and I'm going to keep those reps. I'm practicing a lot of shots and keeping up my mechanics." Perhaps his last quote of the night summarizes his whole story. "People don't understand what I've been through. 4 years ago, I was just a kid going up to the professional league and I was so nervous going on the court. I think my first game I scored 1 point. It was a hell of a journey for me to get here." All things considered, Washington is the perfect spot for Deni to be in right now. He has a chance to play for a contender in the Eastern Conference and continue where he left off in Israel. The Wizards also gave Avdija a chance to continue writing his own story. And judging by what we've already seen from him, it isn't crazy to think he's on his way to becoming an NBA star sooner than later. How good do you think Deni Avdija's career will pan out? Do you see a league MVP award in his future? Let us know in the comments down below. And as always, don't forget to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel.